On the fantasy thing, that goes back to, if you remember those stages of development, there are a lot of things going around. So those were the key concepts for the individual that we spoke about. But there are other things that are correlated to that. And one of them is children will, they're first of all very concrete, so that you don't develop an abstract. Abstract thinking is the ability to think about something that's not in front of you. So, for example, if I have let's imagine I have this sort of double-sided envelope. Just think of the white space here, right? And so, if I'm playing with a 2-year-old and I say, what color is this? And they know the colors. They'll say, yellow or brown or whatever. And I'll say, what color is this? White, great. And then I'll say, what color am I looking at? And they'll say yellow, right? Because they cannot put themselves in my perspective. Their perspective is they're still developing their eye, that they can, but they're not able to develop the you yet, right? That's abstract. That's, if you think about it, it's just an incredible ability. Imagine an animal that could see what you were seeing. That would be crazy, right? But we have that skill, but it's not something you are born with. You develop it over time. So children are very concrete. So what they see in front of them is what they believe. When you say, I'm going to the airport, it doesn't mean anything to them until much later when they understand what those things are. And if you're out of their sight, they might think you've disappeared. And there's an age when they start realizing the permanence of things, that just because mom goes and comes back, she's not disappearing, she is coming back, type of thing. So one of the stages is, before they're able to imagine abstract concepts, they believe everything they see and take it literally. And so at that age, if you knew that your child would literally believe everything that you said, one of the things you would do as a parent is you would not lie. So if you say to your child, you're at the airport and your child is you're showing a passport and they're curious, what is that? And you say, I'm busy now, like there's an immigration officer and I need to get to the queue, but listen, let's just get through this queue. I'll tell you later. I'll explain it to you later. If you forget, or you think, they forgot, and you don't do that later, you'll get a teenager 15 years later or 10 years later saying, once you promised me, that you would get me this and you didn't, right? So you broke a promise, basically, because children are very literal at that age. And so if you knew that, one, you would be careful to always say what is happening, what can and can't. And the other thing you would do is you would teach them about real things. So if you talk or read a story about a cow that flies, for you, it doesn't affect you because you understand that doesn't exist. For the child, they actually think there are cows that fly. And so the idea is you don't want to mix at this concrete stage when they take everything literally. You don't want to mix in fiction. Later on, once they have a very solid knowledge of reality and they can start to imagine, there's an age when you can pick up on this with children, when they can start to imagine. So when they're young and they're playing hide and seek, this is how they hide. I'm hiding because they can't see anything, so they assume you can't see them either. And it's literal, they can only see their perspective. Later on, they develop the skill of seeing what you see, right? And by the way, that grows with time. I can see what the person next to me sees. I can identify with my group, with my particular peer group. And very few people are able to develop and empathize and identify with people they don't even know and meet. And they become universally empathetic, right? So those are all skill sets, just like a bicep curl that, you can become better and better at. So that once they're able to imagine, then you can, once they have a solid background in reality, cause and effect, cause and effect. If you do this, this will happen. If, this is what a cow sounds like. This is what a dog sounds like. Then when they're able to imagine, you can say, imagine if cows could fly, imagine if dogs could do that, etc. And it opens up this beautiful imagination space, and satisfies that need, but it doesn't confuse them.